Hey friends, welcome back to another video. My name's Lefebvre, and today we're going to be painting a really pretty mixed media wild mushroom. So let's jump in and get started. Okay friends, today I'm going to show you how to paint this really cool mushroom that I found on Pinterest. I just really love the shape, the color, all of that. And I decided to put it in this spread that I did for Patreon. So if you want to see how to paint all these other elements, it's a long video, but it's a lot of fun because I do one full item at a time. So if you only want to learn one thing or only have enough time for maybe one element, you could always just watch that whole chunk in that video. But if you would like to see the whole thing, definitely become a patron of mine. It's only $3 a month Canadian, and you get 3 bonus tutorials that are not available anywhere else, all of my YouTube content ad-free, as well as tracing pages. If you don't love drawing the the images, I have that ready for you. So if you would like the whole thing, become a patron. Otherwise, we're gonna do this really fun mushroom in the spread. So let's jump in and get started. Okay, so let's paint this final mushroom. I really enjoyed seeing this on Pinterest. I just really like the shape of it. It's not a typical shape that I would typically draw, but I just love like the brightness of the colors, and I don't know, just a lot of fun. So let's draw it out first. Obviously, I have sketched it out just to give myself a guide. It wasn't like the most easiest thing to draw. It wasn't like it was hard, but it's just trying to get proportions. But either way, it's fine. We're going to draw it together. So I'm going to start with kind of like this little, I like to call them a skirt down here of the top of the mushroom. And then I'm going to do kind of like this, you know, slightly wavy stem. Doesn't have to be perfect. Okay. Then from this little skirt, which we can kind of bring up and do like a little curve there, we're going to come around, do this little top here. See, this is where I'm like erasing over and over again, but it's okay. It's a mushroom. It doesn't have to be perfect or just like the photo. Okay, we kind of come up and around, and then it does this deep plunge here. Kind of reminds me of like one of those brimmed hats. I don't know. It's just fun. And then it kind of comes back over here and it ends over there. Then you're going to do this little kind of scoop because you do see the inside a little bit, and it stops just kind of short of the curve here. Then the top, you're going to come around the side, and then it kind of follows this scoop, not as intensely, but just a little bit like that. It's interesting. Okay, so now I'm just going to erase any lines I don't need. And I'm also going to get out my masking fluid. Masking fluid, in case you don't know, is this liquid medium that you can apply to your paper. So it preserves the white of the paper. So the little dots on this mushroom are white. You can always do them with white paint after. You don't have to use masking fluid by any means, but I think it's a really fun way to do it because it's easier to paint around. I used it for this one, and it's just a lot of fun. So I'm going to apply my masking fluid. I just have this little kind of silicone brush, which is kind of perfect for dots, and I'm just gonna do some little kind of random dots, big and small, over this whole thing. Actually going to erase up here because I like sometimes too when they come off the top of the mushroom head. And I'm just going to continue to do little dots like so. Okay, then you have to let it completely dry. Okay, now the masking fluid is dry, and you can tell because it kind of changes like to this like yellowy, tacky color and feel, and that means it's ready to paint. So I'm going to grab some yellow to start, and I'm gonna go over the whole top of our mushroom here. Like so. Then while it's still wet, I'm gonna grab a little bit of red, and I'm gonna tap that red over here. So I wanna kind of keep the edge of this very yellow, and then the top part is a bit more red. So I want to preserve the yellow close to the edge there. Okay. Might even just grab a little bit more yellow. And just kind of drop it at the edge here. Just so it's nice and bright. And then while the top here is still wet, I'm going to get this dark red and kind of purpley mixture. So it's like a dark red color, and I'm just going to tap it in up here where there would be more of that darker shadow. Maybe a bit more red. Like that. Like so. I do need this to kind of come out a bit more. Like that. Okay. And you're going to let that dry. Now, while that's drying, let's just do the bottom here. So for the color for the mushroom, it's white-ish, but I want to create this like off-white color. So I'm going to grab a little bit of burnt sienna and some ultramarine, which makes kind of like this neutral brown. If you have a little bit more of the ultramarine, it creates more of a gray. So I'm going to take a lot of that color off of my brush, so it's very, very light. And I'm going to apply it to the stem here. And here. And I'm going to not touch that colored part up there. I don't want them bleeding together. Like that. And then we'll probably do in here as well. That. I'm just being very careful. You could wait for this to dry, the top to dry, but I like living on the edge apparently. Okay. Yeah, do not touch the red or orange part with this color. Okay. Then we're going to let that whole thing dry. Okay, now that it's dry, I'm going to add some of our shadows. So I'm going to grab more of our burnt sienna and ultramarine mixture. A little bit more ultramarine, so it's a bit more gray brown. And I'm going to go right under our little skirt area here, and I'm going to add some dark color right underneath, like that. And then I'm going to quickly wash and dry off my brush. And I'm just going to kind of blend that out. Like that. A little bit more water. Just try and blend it out a bit. Like that. Maybe go back in with a little bit more. You can even do like little shadows of like dots and stuff. So just like a little shadow there. Kind of blend it out. It's hard to blend out on this paper. That is one thing I will say. This paper is not the best for blending. Okay, and then I'm going to also add, actually, you know what? Let's add water here for our blending. So just a little bit of water, and then I'm going to grab that dark color and tap it in. That will be easier than blending it out. Okay, just adding a little bit more shadow in there. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take this color. Actually, I'm going to grab my smaller brush. Actually, no, hold on. I'm like trying to figure out how I want to do this. I'm going to wet this area up again because I'm going to add some more shadow in here. Grab a little bit of my color. Okay, and I'm just going to add some shadow right here. Like that. And it's wet, so it should blend. Like that. See that? So we're making it a little bit darker right in here. So yeah, I would wet this area up first and then tap in that darker color. And we're going to do those like inside lines on them after. And then I'm going to darken this whole area with this color. Like that. And I want to darken this a little bit more too. Like that. Like that. And then I think that's good. Okay. And then we're going to wait for that to dry before we do those kind of fun lines on the inside. While we're waiting for that to dry, I'm going to remove our masking fluid. So I'm just taking the tip of my finger and gently rubbing over where I place the masking fluid, and look at the white dots that appear underneath. Okay. Okay, so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a dark kind of reddish color or reddish brown. There we go. Now this is burnt sienna. And I'm going to make sure it's nice and sharp. And I'm just going to darken under each of these little white dots. Okay, because they're kind of 3D, so they'd be casting a little bit of a shadow. So just like a little shadow underneath. It's going to make them pop. We're also going to add like a slight blue shadow on top to also make them look 3D. Now the ones that are kind of off the page or off the top of the mushroom, I'll show you how to make them look like they're not just floating in the middle of nowhere. Okay, then I'm going to grab a little bit of like our ultramarine grayish mix, and I'm going to just, oops, not too dark, just add a bit of a shadow on the white, leaving still some of that white space. The ones that are kind of off the top of the mushroom, I am creating a shadow over the top so it looks like they're popping off the top like that. So this ultramarine mixture, bottom of each white dot, just a little bit. You still want that white. Make sure you leave some of that white, just a little shadow. And look how much it pops out. It's crazy. Okay, like that. Then, now you can either do this part with your colored pencil, or you can do it with a brush. I think I'm going to try my brush, to be honest. And I'm going to grab our dark kind of brownish color again. So a little bit of our indigo and burnt sienna. And I'm just going to do these lines coming from that stem here. For the inside texture. Okay. And I want to make them really close together. And they're all coming right back to this one point. Okay. Make some darker areas. It helps when you have a really nice pointed brush for this. And then this one, they're coming up from the bottom. It's kind of one area here. Like that. Like that. And there we go. Okay. Then if you want to add anything to it, I might grab a little bit of my yellow here and just make it a little bit more prominent, more glowy towards the tip there. Might get a little bit of my burnt sienna too, or just even like the darker kind of brown. That I feel like needs a little bit more orangey right there or something. That if you would like to add any more extra shadow on the stem, you can do that as well. Just gonna take this green, just some like textured lines, especially down this one side. I'm gonna outline this just a bit. From the bottom. And it's not as bright white here as I was kind of hoping. I'm gonna add a little bit of extra white on this side. And then maybe just like a little highlight in here of white in between some of those bits. Like that. And then finally, I just want to add a little bit of green grass at the bottom to our mushroom. Just these little bits of grass. You can even add it with your brush and your watercolor if you prefer. The point on this thing is so good. A little bit of olive green maybe. And then I'm just going to blend it out a bit. Like that. And there you go. There is our fun looking mushroom. Thank you all so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it and I hope you learned something. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and follow me on all my other platforms for tons more content. Have a great day, guys. Bye.